start moving more towards Mesa and eventually Salem there, as you're seeing. And it looks like we may have just gotten another update popping up out there with severe thunderstorm warning, possibly. Is that associated with this one? Looks like it is a little bit further off towards the north, up in Jasper County. So let's see what we've got going on here. So this is kind of what we expected to see. I am surprised to see a couple of these warnings popping up so early in the day, but right when things started to warm up as we approached lunchtime, which would be our warmest time, that would be when we would get it. And we're just starting to see that now. Again, watching this active tornado warning, which we'll focus on, but I did want to point out again up in Jasper County, up right near Bay Springs, kind of moving over towards just up against the Lewin area and Silverena there. Just starting to see that storm push through those areas. Now, this severe thunderstorm warning is going to be more of a potential for straight line winds and things like that. But we are watching this tornado, which is still active and still just a bit too far out to get any real definition on. All I can see for sure is that we've got some pretty decent winds in that area, and that it is one of those bowing segments that tends to be of the windier areas during one of these linear storms pushing through. So again, it is just starting. You can see the last couple of hours here as this very narrow band of storms has moved through. We've watched the flash flood, those bright green areas pop up ahead of it as rain rates mixed within this storm are upwards of 3 inches per hour and upwards of almost 4 inches in some very small spots. So that's the kind of thing you've got to watch out for there as far as the days ahead and the fact that this is going to continue. But for right now, just now approaching Tylertown, again, I wish I could get some better definition. It's very kind of a sloppy storm, especially down there. As this bowing segment has raced ahead, it's probably breaking up the structure a bit because we could see that the reflectivity is already showing up almost to the east of, yep, they just updated it there, now to the northeast of Tylertown, kind of approaching the Salem and Darbin area. So let me go ahead and actually do my linear storm on this, even though it's probably more of a point because it is so kind of disorganized there. We'll extend this out again another 40 minutes. Now you've got to keep in mind that with these radars, they are sometimes delayed upwards of 5 to 10 minutes. So go ahead and keep that in mind. Maybe subtract about 5 from some of these numbers here, which is got you up against right now. So that would mean that Noxo, you could be seeing this as early as this exact moment starting to move in. Carto, I'd say it's definitely on top of you, if not already pushing through the area. Kokomo, you've got about a couple of minutes here as it starts to move towards the northeast there. Still very hard to tell what's happening within that storm, but it is bowing to the point where I could guarantee some pretty strong winds mixed in there. And with the National Weather Service going with the tornado warning, even though I can't personally verify it, I would say that there is some concerning rotation mixed in there. So if you live in any of these cities that we're talking about, Kokomo here at about the next 5 minutes, Sartonville here in about the next 5 to 10 minutes, Hamage after that, and then into Sumbax and Foxworth. Foxworth, I would say you've got about 15 minutes before it would really be pushing in onto you, assuming that it does hold together as a warned storm. But again, even if it doesn't, we're still talking about a strong segment of this line pushing through. Now, it does look like it's kind of breaking away from itself, and that'll mess up its organization a bit. But still watching it there is not something you want to see. Especially when it looked like more than likely we would just be dealing with some heavy rains with this. But undoubtedly, as we say, with severe weather and with the potential for that in South Mississippi, anytime we have thunderstorms, it feels like it just takes just a little bit more to get these going down here. So we weren't caught by surprise. Definitely not likely that we would see these, but we were ready for them and continuing to watch them. So currently pushing in on the Salem area. If I had to give it a position, I would say that that's probably what we're looking at being the area of interest right along 583, just to the north of Tylertown, pushing to the northeast towards Salem. So I would say Salem is getting it right now or immediately here in the next couple of minutes. And then after that, approaching Darbin there. Unfortunately, one of my monitors is out here, so I'm not getting some of the information I normally get as far as the details on speed and direction and things like that, but can clearly see the radar here, which we're watching. Using the sweeping radar here to see if I can get some of that definition on it. Looking deep ahead, definitely approaching 27, 583, in between 583 and 27 right now is where I'd say, again, very hard to pick a location to put something like that, but if there was something to put, that's where it would be, between 583 and 27, approaching Salem right now. The highest reflectivities are showing up ahead of that. That's where those dangerous winds would be, and the potential for rotation if it's there at all. So we're continuing to watch that. Flash flood warnings also mixed in there because, again, those rain rates quite high, which will be the biggest lingering issue for us. Of course, an active tornado or even just damaging straight line winds, which we could be seeing up in the Jasper County, pushing towards Bay Springs right now, basically on top of Silverena and Lewin, pushing towards and through Bay Springs west to east across Jasper County. As we're just starting to see the line, the way it's oriented across the area, like it's halfway through the northern half of the Pine Belt, but really just now pushing into the western end right now, and that's where that tornado warning is that we're watching now, halfway through about Walthall. I'd say now approaching our viewing area, certainly here in the next couple of minutes, as it will be in Marion before too long, or into Jeff Davis with that next update. We'll see if they hold it together that long. But right now, still watching it, still in the northern part of Walthall. I would say on top of and passing through Salem right now, moving towards Darbin there. Go ahead and give a point estimate here so we can see again the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. That way we can get some of those cities. Salem right now, Darbin here in the next 10 minutes or so as this Boeing segment moves more towards the east, northeast there. Morgantown here in about the next 15 to 20 minutes. Oakville shortly after that. And then moving towards Society Hill and Bunker Hill as we head into the end of this half hour. So as this continuously pushes off towards the north and the east, seeing it approaching the western end of Marion and the southwestern end of Jeff Davis. So that puts you, if I mentioned an area that you happen to live in right there, then definitely be ready for a strong storm, if not the potential for an embedded tornado mixed in with this line as it pushes through and brings us some fairly heavy rainfall to the area. Don't forget also about up in that Jasper County area, just on the eastern end of Smith, near Silverena, pushing towards Bay Springs and Lewin. That's where you've got another strong segment of this line. No rotation evident with this. That's why they only went with the severe thunderstorm warning, which will get you your straight line winds and the potential for hail. Hail potential very low today, but a good indicator that if you start seeing something like that, that you may be dealing with an overachieving segment of that storm, and that can certainly catch up to you pretty quickly. So we're watching that active severe thunderstorm warning off towards the north, again in Smith County, approaching Jasper right there on top of Bay Springs, having just passed through Silverena towards Lewin right now, which of course Lewin receiving one of those storms last year that ended up being one that we'll remember for quite some time. Still, the only active tornado warning right now is this one down in Marion County, just north of Tylertown. I would say it's probably gone through Salem at this point. And again, it's a very messy storm, and it's right on the edge of where we kind of get a lot of detail with our radars. So we're in between a couple of radars, which is why I'm not able to put where I would say down to maybe a block or something like that. Where it would be. Still not seeing any evidence of debris being picked up or lofted, which is good to see. Now, even if it is something small, it wouldn't have that. If it happens to be very close to the surface, we wouldn't be seeing that anyway. So again, going to go ahead and say that this is something that will at least treat as if it's on the ground, looking like it is very disorganized from a storm severe weather perspective. When it comes to that, rotation is very messy, winds are strong, rain is strong, and we can certainly see enough problems with that without those embedded storms. And this is very likely, again, I don't have any eyewitness confirmation of this or anything like that, but just based on the way it looks, it'll be what we call rain wrapped, which is not something that's very uncommon for our area. It just means that these aren't going to be the photogenic storms you see out in the plains, places like that. This is just going to be a very heavy rainstorm that also happens to have a tornado mixed in it probably, and you may not ever even see it. You may hear it, you'll certainly feel it if it passes through near your home, but you may not ever see it with the way that these are structured, these embedded rain-wrapped storms, which are unfortunately of the messier variety, and that's what we're seeing here. So still watching, waiting to see if we get another update here. That's why I always talk about these scans could potentially be upwards of 10 to 15 minutes delayed. As we see, that hasn't really moved too much. It's actually almost now on the eastern side of Salem, with Darbin and Kokomo right now getting the highest reflectivity. So they're getting those heaviest rains right now, and then it's on the back side of that where this apparent rotation or straight line winds are being felt right now, and that's why we're seeing that warning there. So now east of the Tylertown area, east of the Enon area, and basically right on top of Salem is where I would say our biggest issue is right now, and still approaching the northeast, which let me go ahead and get another, we'll do another little swath here instead of a point, because it just feels better with it being as disorganized as it is. So we're looking at, again, here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, Salem and Kokomo. I would say it's already on top of Salem. We'll go ahead and assume that with the delay mixed in there. I would say if you live in Kokomo, you'll be seeing the eastern edge of this approaching you here in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. Darbin looking like 1 to 2 minutes after that, and then moving toward Carmick there as we start heading towards the top of the hour, which will be getting us up towards midday time, and then Morgantown right around that time as well. So right now we're focused on the north and eastern end of Marion County as you approach Lamar, and the southern ends of Jefferson, Davis, and Covington there. This area where this active tornado warning is, and again, it's not the variety where we can put it down to maybe a street. Where it is moving and things like that is a very messy line pushing through the area and very likely rain wrapped. So if you are trying to get a look at it, and again, we don't recommend you do that. We'd rather you stay safe and in wherever you happen to be as this is approaching you. Hopefully that is your usual safe spot. If not, you do the best you can by getting as low and internal into a home. Get as far away from any external walls, windows, things of that nature. You want to put as many walls between you and any approaching weather system. In this case, the tornado that we are watching, possibly passing through Salem right now, may even have passed it already and be moving towards the Darbin and the Kokomo area. That's now where we're seeing the higher reflectivity areas, which is very likely where our heavier rains are. If there's any hail, it's going to be mixed in there as well. And then those gusting winds kind of catching up on the backside, and that's also where you'll find that circulation, if it's there, which you can see some wind over there near Darbin and Salem and Kokomo, but nothing apparently rotating evident to me. But again, we're kind of right on the edge of where that gets detail, and it looks like they have just dropped that off, it looks like, with that rotation falling off a bit. Let me back up here, make sure that we don't have anything else going on. We still do have that severe thunderstorm warning happening off in the northern end of Jasper County. Let's see if I can get some detail as to what's going on with that one. Moving northeast at 20 miles per hour, 60 mile per hour wind gusts. No hail or no rotation expected with that one, which is what we expect to see with these strong pockets moving through. And I'd say that's again right on top of Lewin, which is still recovering from that last storm that we had pretty late in the year last year. So that is the active area right now. We'll keep an eye on that in case any areas of rotation. You can go ahead and bring me back up as well, since we're about to wrap up here. Just looking at this line as it passes through, everything's going along with about what we expected to see. Again, a strong line of storms passing through the area as we now approach lunchtime. That's when things are at their warmest, and that's when we're going to see the highest available instability for these storms, the highest available fuel, so to speak, for these storms. So if we were going to get something, it's starting now and will kind of linger with us here for the next few hours. But that tornado warning has dropped off. That one was the one just entering into eastern Lamar County and Marion County and into southern Jefferson Davis and Covington County. So that's the areas we're watching right now. Even though that tornado warning has dropped off, it is no longer active. That is still very likely a very strong section of the storm, which may have damaging winds, small hail, and of course very heavy rains mixed in. The heavy rains are going to be the issue that sticks with us. We're still going to be dealing with flooding later today and likely for the next couple of days, at least in those areas that are flood prone. So I'm up here. Rex will be here very shortly. We'll keep an eye out for any more warnings. And by the time we head towards midday, if anything does start popping up, it will very likely be within the viewing area, and we will be doing our regular on-television cut-ins. So stay near your safe space, keep your app handy, and go ahead and turn it to Channel 7 just in case. That way you know if we're on there, there are some active warnings in the area.